Good to be back.
It is an incredible pleasure to have you back with us again.
Thank you.
Thank you. To EPA Administrator to your right, Michael Regan, welcome back again to New Jersey. Thrilled to have you here. You and I have a virtual and telephone relationship, but it's great to be with you face to face.
Absolutely.
A few months back, I said that if anyone wants to see what the future of America looks like, they should look to New Jersey. So I am especially honored that our state and the city of Newark, which I'll get to in a minute, can be a model for the nation in protecting our families and children from the dangers of lead. I know we'll hear shortly from the great leader to my left, Newark Mayor Ras J. Baraka. We will also hear as well from residents. Vivian Carter is with us, Stephanie Jones, and Shakima Troutman. And we'll also hear from Paulo Peralta and Amanda Gentle to my right, who are each involved in Newark's lead service line replacement effort. I cannot say enough about the mayor's leadership, members of council along his side in mitigating one of the state's greatest pre-pandemic emergent challenges. Under your stewardship, Mayor, Newark has replaced every one of its 23,000 lead service lines. As I said to the Vice President and Administrator early, I think we all thought 8 to 10 years would be a reasonable time frame. You got it done in 2.5 years, which makes it even extraordinary. And by the way, you didn't let the pandemic slow or stop the work. Your crews, Kareem Adim is here. Kareem gets a lot of credit here. They stayed on the job. And while we cannot ignore that lead exposure has been a health crisis focused primarily in our cities and on black and brown families and children, the risks run broad and deep. I first unveiled, Madam Vice President, a comprehensive statewide lead strategy in 2019, covering not just the dangers of lead in water, but the dangers of lead paint and other sources. Last summer, I was proud to sign a new state law requiring every lead service line to be cataloged and removed by the year 2031. I want to thank the legislators you all heard, from Majority Leader Teresa Ruiz. Our Speaker of the Assembly, Craig Coughlin, is with us. Cleopatra Tucker is in the House. It has been estimated that there are some 350,000 lead service lines in New Jersey alone. We've already identified at least 185 of them, 185,000 rather. 1 million or more remain to be reviewed. And as you know, this is not an inexpensive problem, and tackling it will require all levels of government working together. As they say, this one takes a village. Mayor Baraka did not have the benefit of the bipartisan infrastructure law to help him finance Newark's efforts. Essex County was there under the great leadership of County Executive Joe DiVincenzo. The New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection under the great leadership of Commissioner Sean LaTourette each stepped up to provide essential funding. So the nearly $170 million bipartisan infrastructure law is delivering to our state now, specifically for water infrastructure improvements. This year alone, it could not be more perfectly timed. I don't know where we'd be with our extraordinary congressional delegation. Both of our great senators are here, Senator Bob Menendez, Senator Cory Booker, two outstanding members of the House, Chairman Frank Pallone and Congressman Donald Payne. So thank you, gentlemen, and your colleagues. And through our water infrastructure investment plan, we will leverage this federal investment and ensure that funding reaches underserved communities. So, Madam Vice President, Administrator, I am honored that you have come to New Jersey to highlight this critical aspect of the law and the partnerships it will foster. We would not be here if not for your efforts and those of President Biden and the work of our entire congressional delegation. So on behalf of our state and the great city of Newark and its families and our nation, I thank you both, and I thank President Biden for all of your leadership and partnership. God bless you, and again, great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Governor Murphy, and it is wonderful to be back in New Jersey, the home state of my husband, and a place where I've spent a good amount of time over many years. I want to thank you, Governor, for your role of leadership. You and I talked when you greeted me on the tarmac, but your signature on legislation to remove all lead pipes from New Jersey over the course of 10 years, which is a relatively short amount of time, given how long this issue has been an issue, is extraordinary and is part of the role model of how we are looking at what we can do as a nation. So thank you for the warm welcome always. Mayor, I thank you. Newark, New Jersey is such an important place in our country for so many reasons, in terms of its history, in terms of its vitality, in terms of its contribution to who we are as a nation. And this has been a long-standing issue, and you came in, cut through red tape, made this a high priority, and have now made it such a role model that for the administrator and I, who have taken to a road show to talk about the importance of removing lead from pipes and paint, we came here at the beginning of this tour to highlight what you have accomplished here in Newark as an example and a role model of what cities around our country are capable of doing. I thank you for that.
Thank you.
I thank you for that.
Thank you.
We purposely designed this visit today to hear from our community leaders, but we know that the work that can be done as a nation on eliminating this lead, which is having a profound impact on our children, on our most vulnerable communities. We came here because these are community leaders who are also role models for the nation, where we have met many community leaders, administrator, around the country, who have been the voice of conscience with clear purpose and commitment and courage to propel this issue in a way that we would act, and act in a way that was not incremental, but about achieving what we know is possible, which is to get rid of this problem. It's hurting our babies. Over half of the children of our nation who are under the age of 6 are at risk on this issue. It is well documented, and at this point without debate, what this does in terms of impeding the God-given capacity of our children to learn and to thrive. It is a public health issue. It is an equity issue. It is an issue of education. It is an issue of whether we are willing to invest in our future in terms of investing in our communities. All that is what is present on this topic. So I thank the community leaders, I thank the elected leaders. I see my dear friend, Senator Cory Booker here, and Senator Bob Menendez, the chairman of a most important committee, especially at this point. And I want to thank you too, because I have served with them in the United States Senate, and I know, based on personal experience and as a witness of what they did in the Senate to make sure that federal dollars would come to New Jersey with speed and priority to address this issue. So I want to acknowledge and thank the senators for your role of leadership. You deserve a lot of credit for that. Chairman Pallone, Congressman Donald Payne, we have talked about all these issues so many times. You are incredible advocates for this state, for this district, for the districts you represent. And I appreciate you always reminding the president and me of what is at stake on the ground on this and so many other issues. So thank you for that. And again, I want to thank the community members. We'll get into a more in-depth conversation. I'm about to pass the microphone over to the administrator, but I cannot tell you enough how important your roles of leadership have been to remind community leaders around the country that when you speak up, often with great frustration, but with great purpose and courage, it matters and it makes a difference. You all are role models for community leaders around the country who may have, through their frustration and pain with this issue, have thought that and wondered whether it makes a difference. You all are proof that it makes a difference. It makes a difference. So I thank you for that. And with that, I will now pass the mic over to the administrator of the Environmental and Protection Agency for all of his work in pushing this through our administration. Michael Regan.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. It is so good. You all can see that her passion on this topic is so infectious. And I'm lucky enough to get a chance to travel the country and talk about this issue with someone who has a long-standing history of fighting for justice and equity. So thank you for your leadership, Madam Vice President. Governor Murphy, it's always good to see you. Congratulations on a hard-fought victory. We know that this state has a champion, not only just for the environment, but public health as well. Mayor Baraka, thank you, sir, for having us back. You know, if it was your goal to hide, you've blown through that, because we're going to take this and we're going to promote this all over this country. This is exactly what the president and the vice president envisioned when we focused on lead pipes removal. To our congressional leaders, Senator Booker, my good friend, until he just said he wanted to charge me New Jersey tax because I come too much. Senator Menendez, our good friend Chairman Malone, Congressman Payne, thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you for your efforts. It's because of your leadership and the Vice President's leadership that we have the bipartisan infrastructure law, and we have resources to help replicate what's happening in Newark all over this country. So listen, we're here to listen to the members of Newark, members who understand and whose lives have been directly touched by the city's historic efforts to remove every lead service line that there is. So thank you, all of you, for participating today and sharing your story. Now, we have about 22 minutes, so we want to be sure that each of you get a chance to tell your story, but Ms. Jones has told me that I better keep it on time so she can get her picture with the Vice President at the end of this. So I'm going to follow those instructions and jump right on in. To get us started, I'd like to start with Ms. Shamika Troutman, a lifelong Newark resident, born and raised, proud mother of 3 wonderful children, a New Jersey trained operator, and a new homeowner. Can you share with us what this lead replacement project has meant to you, especially as a new homeowner, and what it will mean for your children as well?
Thank you, Mr. Regan, and I just want to say hello to everyone here, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's meant a lot to me because I was a new homeowner and I was renovating the home. And as a new homeowner, you are inundated with so much.
Lean into the mic.
Let's make sure her microphone is on. Or if not, you can use mine. Here, use this. Okay. There you go.
Thank you. Hello?
Problem
Okay.
solved.
All right, awesome. Can I get closer? Yeah. Okay. I was just saying that it really meant a lot to me. It was really one less thing that I had to worry about as a new homeowner. It's a plethora of information that you're receiving just being a new homeowner. I was renovating the home at the time, so that was one less thing that I had to worry about. So I'm very grateful to our Mayor, Ras Baraka, for getting the lead eradicated in our city. And as a new homeowner, you have so many different things to worry about. So having this process in place, like the city implemented a process from signing up for, the lead removal, getting the lead pipe out of the home, and also the contractors. They took care of everything. So as a new homeowner, that was one less thing that I had to worry about, because I'm worrying about the roof and the, plumbing and electrical and everything like that. So it was definitely a burden, one less thing for me to worry about that I didn't have to do, and the city covered that. Also, it gave accountability. So, when you're having work done in your home, sometimes it's hard to find, contractors that are, reputable. So having the city take this on, it gave accountability to the project being done and that it was going to be done correctly. So I'm very grateful for that.
That is great.
Yep.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
that.
All right,
Okay, no problem.
What I would like to point out in terms of Ms. Troutman's story is one of the things that we purposely designed in the bipartisan infrastructure law with the leadership of the congressional members who are here is that for too long on this issue, homeowners or even renters have had to suffer the burden of, for that part of the service line or pipe that's on their property, that they'd have to foot the bill. Thousands and thousands of dollars, right? While people are trying to get through the end of the month. And so what we purposely designed in the infrastructure law is that because of the help of our congressional leaders who said that we got to get these federal dollars to the states and to the agencies, that the homeowner would not have to bear that burden. But it's also about putting in place, Mayor, the infrastructure at the local level so that the homeowner, to your point, doesn't have to worry about it in terms of finding a contractor. And this is where LIUNA and our partnership with our friends and the leaders in organized labor and those who've been doing the training and doing the work have all these highly skilled contractors and workers who can do the work in partnership with local government, so the homeowner does not have to worry. And that's the theme. You should not have to worry about that. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for that. And now we're going to turn to Ms. Jones, another native of Newark, mother of 4 children and a grandmother of 3. I understand that your block was one of the first to be serviced. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and about that process?
Yes, good morning. It's
Good
an honor to
morning.
be here amongst everyone this morning. I'm glad my vote counted, and Madam Vice President.
Good morning.
Good morning. Like Mr. Reagan was saying, my home was one of the first ones when they started the project. In the beginning, there was a little hookup, but we came out. We talked to the people. They came out. When they came in our house, you know, the pipes was like leaking. They came back and fixed it. They didn't give us no hard time. My granddaughter, she was like a little concerned because they were saying that lead was in the water in school. So I assured her that Newark is working on it. They're gonna fix the problem. You should be good. But so I was really concerned, more so because, you know, she was more concerned. So when they started saying that they was gonna fix it, I was listening to a lot of the town hall meetings that they were having, and I was assuring her, as well as ourselves, that they will get the project done, and we should be good with the water. So I'm so happy that Ross and his team did everything they could to make sure we were safe with the lead in the water. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. And Ms. Jones' story, and thank you for sharing it, is about how it affects multiple generations within one household.
Right.
For you as a grandmother, and your grandbabies worrying about whether they could actually drink water from the tap, and would they be healthy, especially during their formative years, their years of critical development. So thank you for sharing that story.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Jones. And now we'll turn to Ms. Amanda Gentle. You've been with the veteran-owned Newark-based engineering firm Roman E&G for 14 years and serve as a project manager in the company's water division. I understand that you've been one of the main points of contact for the community. Can you tell us how many homes you serviced or how many lead service lines you've replaced and how important it's been to collaborate directly with the community members?
Yes, hi, good morning. It's an honor to be here today, and I really appreciate everyone and their efforts to make this program a success. We have worked on 14,000 homes, just above, changing out over 12,000 lead service lines. And in my opinion, as a contractor, we have done a lot of different public work, but the city of Newark has gone above and beyond to change the accessibility for everyone. In my opinion, there are 3 things that the city of Newark did that are significantly different from other utilities with the lead service lines that I've worked on. And I think number 1 is the communication with the community. And as these women said, it's the education they've given the residents. Having after-hours meetings at local community venues where people can go and ask questions. Having an online presence where you can go online and check the status of your own home. Having the mayor do daily updates on Facebook, you know, especially during the pandemic, and speaking about these things. Telling the people there is a lead crisis and we need to fix it, and here's how we're going to do it. So that communication was really important, and I think that helped everybody involved start moving forward. The second is that the city of Newark took responsibility for the entire line, from the main to the meter. This is significantly different from other public utilities, where if it is lead on the homeowner side, they're still responsible for it. Newark taking up that cost says you don't have to be in a certain economic position to have access to clean water. Everyone gets clean water. And I think that's absolutely amazing. The last is that you guys are homeowners. A lot of the city, they're renters. And the city passed an ordinance that allows tenants and renters to authorize this work to be done. And I think that that was a game changer, especially as a contractor, to get access to these homes, because people didn't know their rights. And this allowed, we had 11 contracts, like I said. So we've been at 14,000 homes, 12,000 replacements. There have been hiccups. But overall, the success of this project, I think is monumental and should continue to be a model for the rest of the country. And as a mother, and an expectant mother with my second on the way, and a homeowner myself, it has been an honor to work with the city of Newark and the government and what you guys are doing. You're changing people's lives. As we've talked to the residents a lot, we've heard people, our children have lead poisoning. Like, it's sad. And it's wonderful to be making a difference. And the city of Newark is great. You guys are great. Yes, you really are.
One of the aspects of the many that you have highlighted is the importance of the communication between government leaders, elected leaders, and the community, because for too long on this issue, community members have had to almost silently suffer without an acknowledgement of the seriousness of the issue, without an acknowledgement of the fact that it has reached crisis proportions, and without acknowledgement then of the need, with a sense of urgency, to fix the issue. And again, this has been a model of how that works and how it then has effect. The other piece that you pointed out that bears repeating is the equity issue here. Because lead pipes do exist in high-income communities, but in high-income communities, they have the income to fix it. Which means that whether it gets fixed or not might be a function of how much money you have. And that, of course, is not right. So that's why this issue also has to be addressed in the way that you've done so well here, and thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you, Ms. Gentle. And now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Paulo Peralta, a member of LIUNA and a Newark resident who worked directly on the lead service line replacement. Mr. Peralta, the work that you will do to protect thousands of people from lead contamination is so outstanding. Can you tell us how you got involved in this work, and what does this work mean to you?
Muy buenos días.
Good morning, everyone.
Agradezco primeramente a Dios,
I want to thank God every day
a las autoridades del estado de New Jersey
for the government of New Jersey
y a la vicepresidenta de los Estados
and
Unidos.
Madam President, Vice
Eh,
President.
Mi nombre es Paulo Peralta.
My name is Pablo Peralta.
Vivo 16 años en el estado de New Jersey, en la ciudad de Newark.
I have been living in Newark, New Jersey for 16 years.
Tengo 2 niños
I have 2 sons.
y trabajé 2 años cambiando los tubos de LED por cobre.
I have been working on changing the lead pipelines for 2 years.
Comenzamos trabajando con el cambio de las tuberías gracias al mayor Baraja, que nos dio la oportunidad a los residentes de Newark para hacer el trabajo.
We started working on the pipelines. Thank you for Mayor Baraka that we started working on the pipelines. We started during COVID.
Comenzamos a trabajar muy fuerte en el invierno haciendo el cambio de los pipes y las familias estaban muy contentas porque era un cambio de las tuberías gratis que estaba haciendo la ciudad.
We started working on the pipelines during winter, and most of the families were so grateful that we started working on them.
Además de que era algo que no tenía costo, era algo muy interesante, era muy importante para la salud de toda la comunidad.
Even though we started on the pipelines, it was something that was free for the community, and like I said, they were very grateful.
Así que trabajamos duro en invierno, en verano, y yo le agradezco a las autoridades por el trabajo, porque así pudimos mantener a nuestra familia en el tiempo de la pandemia. Muy agradecido con todos. Muchísimas gracias.
We started working in the summer and the winter, and the families were so grateful. Thank you, everyone, for the job you do.
So I'd like to thank you so very much. Mr. Peralta, because this is clearly a table of real leaders and role models, and you are, of course, a real role model for the importance of this work but also the significance of the training and the skills development that happens in our labor unions, in LIUNA in particular. In fact, with LIUNA, we, with your union, announced this plan, the Biden-Harris Lead Pipe and Paint Action Plan, in December. In fact, you all may know the Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh, is a very proud member of your union. And even in January, the administrator and I were in Milwaukee meeting with workers there to see the extraordinary training and skills that are required to do this work, and how with the federal investment in a commitment to getting rid of this issue over a short period of time nationally, it's also about jobs development. And to get the jobs done, it means investment in job training. It means investment in upgrading the skills of our workforce and partnering with our labor unions, who are some of the best equipped, traditionally, historically, and currently, to create the apprenticeships that develop the skills that are necessary to do this work. Thank you, Mr. Peralta. Thank you.
And for our final participant, I'd like to turn to Ms. Vivian Carter, which I believe I hear that you'll soon be celebrating your 29th birthday. Is that correct?
A little bit more than that.
All right, well, happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us today. You are a retired educator, a lifelong Newark resident, and a proud mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother.
Yes, I am.
As a senior and lifelong Newark resident, I understand that you are extremely active in your community. Can you tell us more about the outreach that you did to seniors, specifically, and the care that was taken to ensure things were not only put back as they were, but put back, as you say, better than before?
First, I'd like to say good morning. It is truly an honor, and I am truly blessed to be here this morning. But as a lifelong resident of the city of Newark, publicly, I want to thank our mayor, and he's heard me say this before, for a job well done. He's been chosen, and for the position and for the challenge, God has blessed him to meet it. And so I stand before you today. I was very active in what took place in the city of Newark and the community in which I live, which is the Ivy Hill Neighborhood Association community in Ivy Hill. And we are an umbrella for many of the block associations in the community. Ironically, Stephanie and Sakima live in my community also. And as a part of that, we are always in tune and very respectful as to what the needs and wants of are the people in the city of Newark, not just the West Ward, which I live. So we had the opportunity to request a meeting, sort of, with Director Kadeem and the mayor, who came to one of our residents' home, and we literally had a block gathering as to what was going to take place and how they were going to be able to meet the challenge. It was very eye-opening. It was very, they stood for hours, abating any questions and concerns we had. And as a senior, I wanted to know, because I have many seniors in the community in which I live, retired educators, by the way. And the concern is we're on fixed income. How is this going to fracture our in and out, going for doctor's appointments or other to the supermarket or other places we need to go? Because one thing about our area also, it's a lot of one-ways, and then we're right near the Ivy Hill Park. So further up, we even had dead-end streets. So all of this was a concern for us. And so when they came, they assured us and reassured us that none of this could not be done without the community support. So we came up together, I must say, and thank you so much, with a solution for that, which was to get the Ivy Hill Neighborhood Association involved, when actually, because we know our neighbors, we're a very close group in the community in the West Ward, we actually assisted them with going around to our neighbors and asking them to do the release form and to sign it so that we can get it back down to the department as soon as possible. But not only that, What the mayor has done is assured us that as the work was being done, and Amanda could testify to this, because whenever I called, if she wasn't available, she called me back. As a retired educator, and I'm home, I was able to assess what was being done. I even have pictures of my home.
Can you pass that down?
Yes. I even have pictures, as you can see, when they started. And I also want to congratulate the People's Assembly, which is a city program that the mayor has created, and they always keep us abreast as to what was going on. And community meetings were arranged around the city, and they were specific for the status of the Newark's water and lead service line replacement. And this was key, because if you had a concern, they addressed it right away. If you made a phone call and you saw something not being done properly, it was addressed right away. And also, I know for sure, they started at 6 a.m. and they didn't finish until the sun went down. And so even though it might have disrupted the normal flow, because they were consistent and because they were reassuring as to the diligence of getting it done in decency and in order, and making sure it was abated, it was a relief to the neighbors and to the community. I also would like to say that we were reassured that they came out to really just see what was going on. And as we have a group fee for our association, so anytime anybody had a concern or needed a question answered, they put it on the group me, and I think every day you had Facebook Live, and he would address it. And so that made a big impact on residents. And as Shakima said, she's a new homeowner, but I've been in my home for 33 years, and you have others who've been up there for longer than that. And so to get the lead pipes replaced and get the situation taken care of, as an educator, I know the effects of lead on children. And for us to now be reassured that we as residents in the city of Newark, and my home is a family home, so there's always a generation that's there, that we don't have to worry about any more toxic lead affecting the lives of generations now and those yet to come. So again,
so
thank you.
this is part of the spirit behind the work that has been done here as a model and the work that must be done, which is to treat every individual who is facing this issue, understanding their home is a family home. And for that reason must be treated with the dignity, the respect, and the sense of urgency that comes with understanding that home is a family home. But truly, to create an environment as a leader in a community that allows folks to come in a safe place, without judgment, to ask the questions that are the details of life. Is this gonna mess up my ability to get to school or get to the grocery store, get to church, get to the doctor's office? That's real. And then we wanna make sure that when we implement these plans, that they actually are helpful and don't get in the way of the other obligations people have for their lives. But because you created that space and then used that voice in a way that made sure the details of the plan actually worked for the community, that's why this is a role model. So I thank you, Mrs. Carter, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I want to thank you, Ms. Carter. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And before I turn it back over to the Vice President, I would be remiss if we did not ask our fearless leader, the Mayor, to just say a few remarks before the Vice President closes it out for us.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't expecting to say anything, but I want to thank the Vice President for being here for sure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again. It just means so much. I mean, it all hit me tomorrow. I want to thank the administrator for being here, Regan, our governor, and all the other elected officials here. I mean, people talk about the pressure that it took to make this. The big pressure was in my own house. In the middle of this pandemic, my wife was pregnant, and I live in an old home in the Weak Lake section. We had to get our lead service lines replaced too. I was drinking water out of a filter that there was question about whether it worked or not. So she was yelling more than the people in the community was. So the urgency to get it done was very close to me. We did it, and I want to thank everybody in this room for making it happen. So thank you. God bless you all.
Madam Vice President, you want to take us home?
Yeah, you know, just briefly, because so much has been said that needs to be said. This is about a matter of great urgency, and obviously, a matter that is about our children and investing in their health and well-being. So that makes this a public health issue, a public health crisis, dare I say. This is an issue that is about community leadership, and on any issue that we face as a nation, certainly any issue that reaches crisis proportion. Let's use this as an example of where community leadership always leads us in the right direction. Let us think of this as an issue that is, yes, Mrs. Carter, about education, and then the intersection that always exists between public health and education, because that's always a link. Where you see a public health matter that in particular affects children, you will find an educational issue. This is an issue that is about America's workforce and the excellence of that workforce, because we have created structures that allow for incredible training and skills development. And when we do the partnership between elected leaders and governments, and in particular on this issue, our building trades, the workers who have the skill to get the job done, then we see that the job actually gets done. So all of these issues come together around not only the crisis, but really we are here to not talk about the crisis as much as the solution. The solution is evident, and so the bipartisan infrastructure law, the Biden-Harris Lead Pipe and Paint Action Plan is about using this as a model of what we will do around the country. And for that reason, I thank everybody, because it's not difficult to be a role model, because you got to kind of create it on your own, but you guys did that. And now other cities and other families and children around our country will benefit from the work you did right here. So thank you all. Governor, again, thank you for the warm welcome. Mayor, thank you for your extraordinary leadership. To the members of Congress, the senators, the Congress members, I thank you all.
I want to echo the Vice President's This is a significant issue in so many places, and unlike many of the places that she and I have been and we plan to go, it's inspiring that we're in a place that has a solution. This Newark pride is contagious. So I just want to say thank you all for your leadership. We're going to carry this story across the country, and I think we should all stand up and just give this topic a round of applause.
Oh, good for you.
So, Ms. Jones, we will now file over here for the group photo.
Come on over here.